had this dream last night, and you were in it. It was one of those, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was introduced to your teaching several years ago. Been listening to you every day, consistently for about, 4 or 5 years. And she was talking about this idea of jumping timelines. She said that she had died, coded, and she felt like she came back and didn't quite recognize herself. And there's been moments...
She didn't jump a timeline, really. She adjusted her vibration.
What does that mean from a human perspective?
Humans would call it a quantum leap.
Okay.
We would call it a vibrational adjustment in something that usually only happens in the death experience when you don't come back, a leaving behind of resistance. In this case, she didn't leave behind all resistance, but a lot of it. And when she returned, she had a different vibrational set point.
Okay. I don't know if I'm satisfied with that.
With that answer?
Well, no, I think I'm satisfied with the answer.
Well, then ask it more. We have a lot more. We just need to know that you're ready for it.
Well, that's why I almost didn't ask the question.
Yeah?
I don't know if I'm ready for that answer, to be quite honest with you. I don't know what I'm ready for. I think that's what my question is trying to...
Before you go further, we want to just stick something in here that will clarify for you.
Stick it in.
There's a whole lot that you have put into your vibrational reality, into your vortex, you and everyone else. There's a whole lot that you've put there that you're not ready for, because if you were ready for it, you'd be letting it in now. So you know what you're ready for because you let it in. And how are you going to know that you're not ready or that you are ready unless you go for it?
So the process of going for it
is restating the question and then relaxing, reaching for a feeling of clarity or ease. And in this case, it's easier because as you get there, we will express. You see, we have the advantage of knowing what you're asking for. Your inner being always does. And knowing where you are in readiness for the receiving of what you're asking for. So our coaching is always about drawing you into a resonant place where you can know what you've already asked to know, so that you can receive what you've been asking for. That's the whole point of our interaction with any of you.
I've heard you say many times that we have the energy to create worlds, but we haven't been able to drum up enough vibration or energy to launch that.
It isn't really that way. There's enough in your vortex to keep you busy for a very long time. And you have the ability to flow through your consciousness, through your fingertips, so to speak, through your thought fingertips, the energy that creates worlds toward anything that is important to you. But you didn't come into this physical experience, none of us did, to create all these worlds all at once. It's this incremental, satisfying.
That'd be pretty cool though, right? Like to be able to have that much energy and vibration to think that you could do that.
We agree.
So maybe that's the whole idea here, right?
That feeling.
To think that you have that much ability and power to have that energy, to be able to flow it to things that are consistent enough to bring you enough joy into your life, whether that's relationships, money. Gosh, I have this weird vibration about money that keeps popping up that I have.
Now, before you go there, we want to say precisely what you said was exactly right. That is the point of this dialogue, and it really is the point of your being here in this physical experience.
It's realizing how powerful your inner being can be.
When you feel invincible, when you know in a moment, you don't have to know it in every moment, just in a moment when you know that you could be or do or have anything that you choose. That's what we're reaching for, you reaching for. Because in that moment, that means there's no resistance. And if you could isolate a little better, an idea of what you want a little better, not being so vague that it's create worlds, but isolate a little more specific, something that you care about. And then you could knowingly achieve resonance with it so that you know it. And then you witness it coming into being. Then you've got it. And of course you've done that. But then the next part of your statement, what you were about to say to us when we interrupted you, is what keeps that from being a steady thing. When you start to explain,
Gosh, I'm so sick of explaining shit.
well, part of that's because you hang around with other humans. You demand from each other, why did you do that? Or why do you feel this way? Because most people are feeling insecure about where they are, and they think in a flawed premise way that they're going to get more reassurance about who they are by finding resonance with other humans. But what they pick up from other humans is more insecurity. You get your resonance and your power from your alignment with source, and the other humans really are just here, drum roll please, the other humans are just here to help you in contrasting ways to put things into your vortex. The people you hang around with are not here to provide the solution for you. They are here to stir up your asking. All the source energy is what you're reaching for. If people knew that, then they would get along so much better with each other. They would appreciate the contrast that they bring to one another, and they wouldn't feel disappointed that they never get an answer, and they would no longer be tired at trying to explain things to people. In the first segment, we had nearly complete at the beginning and absolutely complete by the end of the conversation resonance with our friend.
Right. I felt it.
So that sort of resonance is communication that is so satisfying. It was satisfying, wasn't it? Satisfying. But when you are trying to get resonance with someone who's on a different vibrational wavelength, there aren't enough words in the world. You are not going to achieve resonance with them unless, and this is why you're so sick of it, unless you lower your vibration to find resonance with where they are. And then they don't understand you, you just understand them. You know it completely because you're feeling it with everything that you are. And then you say, and I hate you.
I don't know if I say that.
We're just saying.
I might say that to myself.
Well, what you're saying is, you said as much. Your words were, I'm so something sick of trying to explain things to other people. And that's why. Because for me to explain things to other people, we have to have resonance. And since most of them are not ready to join me in harmony with source, then if I want resonance with them, then somebody's going to have to do some adjusting. And every time I do, I resent it.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down here, Abe.
So now what?
This whole idea of resistance and contrast, we were talking with our wonderful friend here. I thought it was very interesting that you skipped the entire monologue here and jumped.
That's because
jumped
that
right
was
into
better.
That was a lot better.
Because the whole point of the beginning is to bring you into vibrational alignment with us. That's the whole point of the words that we say. We're wanting to get you to hook in to the vibration of who you really are. And so that's the whole point of that. And we accomplished it together.
Yeah. Gosh. I had this idea in my head what I was going to ask you. And it was about that jumping timelines thing, and it's completely irrelevant now. I don't even care.
Because what you just discovered is how, in a moment in time, when there is complete resonance with source, everything that was your past changes.
Was my past, or is it here, right here in the present?
Well, it's all here right now, but you consider it to be your past. From your now, you say, that was past, and that was then, and this is now, and that is future. But you're doing it all from right here and now. So when, in a moment in time, you accomplish complete resonance with who you really are and all that you know, then your perspective of everything that you've lived shifts to the perspective that your inner being holds.
You say that again? No, did you guys hear that? Does everyone?
Some did and some didn't, so let's go for it again. So when you're standing in your now, where all of your power is, and you care about complete resonance with your inner being. So you've done whatever it took, you've quieted your mind, or you've had a conversation or whatever, but you've accomplished this resonance, as we keep doing here, don't we? So you find that resonance with your inner being. Now in your now, when you consider the past, you're doing it from now. When you consider now, you're doing it from now. When you're considering the future, you're doing it from now. But think about, if in this now you have complete resonance with source energy, that means you're now seeing your past through the eyes of source. And past was only perceived when you were living it, and it's really only perceived from your now as you're thinking about it. So can you imagine the benefit of holding vibrational resonance with your source, and now everything in your past is different? So talk about getting rid of resistance in one fell swoop. Talk about really releasing a lot of resistance in a very easy way. A lot different than trying to explain it to those that you lived your past with. And have you ever had an experience where you're talking to someone, maybe a childhood friend or maybe a sibling or a parent, someone you knew back then, and you're talking about what you think is the same event, but you've got two completely different renditions of what happened, because everything is perceptual. And your perception, here's what we're coming full circle about. Your perception is all and only about the degree of alignment you have with your source energy or not. If you're not in alignment with source, you feel like a victim and they were all really bad to you. But if you're in alignment with source and you feel invincible, then they all really helped you out and you love them for everything that happened. We could solve the Middle East problems with this understanding, or any problem. So much that wants to bring all the history forward, that cannot possibly be understood. So just a few highlights of terrible things, let's drag them all forward. We say, let's not.
Right. Or the idea of people telling you have a problem, or you're an alcoholic, or you're a drug addict, or you're mean, or...
That's because humans, because they so want to understand their environment and themselves, they want quick ways. So they find labels and they jump to quick conclusions, and we love you all so much. They're lazy.
But we have, as humans, have the ability to figure this out on our own. We don't need the self-help. We don't need the therapists, the talking, the constant talking about the problem. You're this, you have this problem, you can't keep this promise.
Can't get to the bottom of any problem. The problem just gets bigger. If someone's trying to get you to accept the problems of your experience, they are not in sync with your inner being, who's calling you toward only solutions. So they are still part of the step one process, which when you're connected to source, you'll love them for doing. Thank you for prodding me into all of these marvelous solutions.
Cool.